the thought and the fears and the worry of not being a good enough daughter, the fear of them thinking that I had abandoned them by moving out, that I don't care about them anymore, which is absolutely not true. Hey everyone, it's Allison. I am here today with audio only again. There is no video, and I am leaning towards just doing more audio only when I don't have guests on, but we'll see. I may change my mind. Today I want to talk to you about my origin story of why I find this work so important, and how I was just like you. And sometimes I still feel just like you, where I feel stuck, I feel upset, I feel resentful, I feel annoyed, I feel frustrated and irritated about all the things that I have to do, feel like I need to do, want to do, wish I could do for myself and my parents. Some of it is for me to heal, to feel like I'm healing with my own correction of my experience with them. Some of it is practical things that I want to help them with, things I actually have to help them with, and things that kind of throw me off by surprise. And that happens pretty often having immigrant parents, right? Because there's always a letter, there's always a question, there's always a challenge that somehow feels heavy. And it may not always be that one thing that is heavy, but the accumulation of it all just really adds up. So I'm just like you. I've been there. I'm still there sometimes, but the beauty of it is that once I've been able to do this work on myself, and the work that I've done professionally with other adults with immigrant parents, I get more of my time back. What I mean is, what used to make me feel guilty, what used to make me feel sad, irritated, resentful, all those feelings that I listed before take up less space. They are still there. I sometimes feel them very intensely. Sometimes I feel them longer than I would like. But overall, by having the skills and the practice that I teach now inside my coaching program, and the work that I do on myself, and just the work that I've learned through my work as a therapist with adults with immigrant parents, all that is shortened, and I feel like I can manage my time, manage my feelings, manage me. And by manage, I don't even like the word manage so much, but like take care of these feelings more is how I mean by manage. Not like I need to control it, but I take care of them better. I allow them to be there more, or I feel them and I don't feel as bad for long. And I really, really think that that's a huge accomplishment, right? For example, even today, my parents were over and there was a letter I had to read, and I was a little grumpy about having to read it because I was hungry. They just came over. My parents had just arrived, and it was like instantly, here's this letter. And I was like annoyed, and I was like, where is this? Where's that? They don't have it. And I was like, you know what? Whatever. I'll deal with it later. I was like grumpy. And of course, the thoughts of, oh, I'm such a bad person. They're just asking for help. I need to do this for them. And then yet I snapped at them, or why can't I just be happy to help? Which I am, but in that moment I wasn't, right? All these thoughts came up, and then in the past I may have spiraled on that a lot longer. I would have had let that ruin my mood for their whole visit, which is about a couple of hours. But this time around I was just like, okay, I was just hungry. I did not want to hear about this right when you came in, and I'll take care of it, right? I knew that. And then I asked for help. So there were things that I did differently, and I got out of that potential negative spiral so much quicker than I have ever in the past. And I'm so proud of that. And again, not every situation will be like that. I may not always respond to myself that kindly, always, but I have the skills, the tools, and the knowledge on how to do it. And this work is so important because when I am taken care of, right, it's so cliche to say, but it's so true. If I am not taken care of, I can't take care of other people. And when I am mean to myself and I spiral in these negative self-talk, thoughts of not being enough, not doing enough, expecting myself to be like this even keel kind of person all the time, it's not realistic, right? What is important is the repair, the recovery, the re-engagement. And these are things that I teach inside my coaching programs, because I think that's what matters, right? Because we're all human and we're not perfect. We're not meant to be perfect. We're not expected to be perfect, although especially for those with immigrant parents, there is such a high expectations of themselves to be quote unquote perfect. So here's your reminder to not expect yourself to be perfect, and to really be kind to what your experience is, and know that the repair, the reconnection is the most important part. And first you got to do that to yourself. So I had to really be like, okay, I was just hungry. I didn't want to deal with this right away, and it's okay. I'm ready now. I ate. I'm ready to look at this now. I'm ready to help. And then I used other skills to help myself get more support, right? And that's what's important. So I am a firm believer that you have the power, the ability, the option, right? Sometimes we just don't even know that we have a choice. You have an option to feel better sooner. You have an option to not quote unquote suffer in your negative thoughts, in a negative mood. You can definitely feel it. I am such a proponent for feeling your feelings, but you don't have to stay in it longer than you need to, or make yourself feel bad for longer than you need to. Because let me tell you this, what happened was I moved out of my parents' house. I had my first job outside of, school in downtown LA. I live in California, and in Southern California, traffic is ridiculous. It's only gotten worse, but back then it was bad too. What is a 25-minute drive ends up being an hour and a half after work during rush hour and all of that. So what happened was I had a 9-to-5 job. I moved out, and the thought and the fears and the worry of not being a good enough daughter, the fear of them thinking that I had abandoned them by moving out, that I don't care about them anymore, which is absolutely not true to this day, ate me up. And I really had to prove that I cared for them, that I was there still, nothing's changed, even though actually things did change, right? I was just really scared and hung up in this worried feeling that people would hate me, right? All this spiraling and people pleasing, guilt, negative self-talk that I want to help you get out of as well. So I had all that, and I would show up after work for my 9-to-5, and then, which is 9 to 6, 6:30 because of traffic, and then be at my parents' house sitting there, forcing myself to sit there when I may not be in a good mood, or that wasn't the best thing for me every day, because sometimes I needed to go home and nap. Sometimes I needed to go to the gym or get food or whatever it is. Now, there were things I did that helped, right? Sometimes I got boba and I went to my parents' house. I got food and I ate there. So I'm not talking about every day, but there were many, many times where I sat myself there. I went to my parents' house after a long day of work and traffic and sat myself there thinking that I had to be there. This is how I show up for you, when there were days where I actually was not in the best mood. And who did that benefit? Nobody. I didn't feel good. They probably can feel that I didn't feel good. And nobody, this is me generalizing, but nobody had a good time, essentially, on some days that I was there, when I was forcing myself to be there. So we do this a lot. you may be doing this too, where you think, I should be doing this, I should be doing that. And then we do the thing and then no one feels good about it. And then we force ourselves to keep repeating this pattern when really, right, like those boba breaks or those dinners that I brought over helped. But there are just times where I really need to not show up. And that's okay. It didn't mean that I didn't care about my parents. It didn't mean that I actually abandoned them. It didn't mean that I didn't care about them or that I didn't want to spend time with them. But it was just that day, I really needed to be doing something else. I needed to take care of myself so that I can actually show up. And when I started setting these boundaries with myself, because again, it didn't even feel like anybody was telling me this, maybe indirectly, you know, I could get comments from my mom, like, are you going to come? But, and then maybe I'm reading into it, right? But no one was telling me or forcing me to like be there when I wasn't able to physically, emotionally, or mentally, whatever it is. And this overarching rule that I had for myself to just show up every day was not benefiting anyone. Like I said, it wasn't every day, but the moral of that story is that I let my guilt, my people pleasing, and my negative self-talk drive me. It was autopilot. It drove me to the same actions all the time, and it actually was just not beneficial for anybody. And what I want for you is to stop that. Stop that autopilot, stop that default thinking, stop that automatic thought of like just negative self-talk, guilt, that drives you to do things that doesn't actually allow you to enjoy the time that you have with people, right? When I actually started to stop doing that when I really needed to and showed up the next day, I felt so much better. I was in a better mood, and you know, I'm sure everybody I can't speak for them, but I'm assuming everybody had a better time. Not everything is perfect, but because I was in a better headspace, it created the general atmosphere of a better environment than it did when I was forcing myself out of guilt and people pleasing. So that's why I am hosting a free workshop on discovering the secret to stop this, right? Stop the people pleasing and stop the spiraling in guilt so that you can actually enjoy or even just spend more time with the people that you care about the most without having this negative energy, negative thoughts, negative self-talk weigh you down and actually stop you from being present and not really enjoying the time that you are spending with the ones that you love. So this workshop's coming up. It's a workshop training, but we'll learn how to start doing that. And you can sign up at heyallisonlee.com/secret. Like, I'm going to tell you a secret because it's the secret I want to share with you. And we'll talk about that. I'll give you tangible things that you can do to start this. And this has been, again, the most beneficial, fruitful work that I've done. It's been something I've been working on since a young teenager, a young child even, but specifically post undergrad, when I started coming back home after going to undergrad, living at home, it's when the core work of what I've done has really reaped benefits and really helped me be a better version of myself. The version that I know is there, but it's like clouded and weighed down by obligation, guilt, and resentment, and fear, and worries, people-pleasing tendencies. That has shedded. To majority of it has shedded. Obviously, some of it's still there. I'm human. But I feel so much lighter. I get to enjoy so much more with the people I care about, and I want that for you. I want that for as many adults with immigrant parents as possible, because, and I only probably know a portion of that, because some second generation adults who are born here with immigrant parents experience has been so much more than mine. There's so many different types of experiences that I will never know of, so I can understand partial of how it may feel for you, and I want to help you have community and feel supported, have the tools that are available to you so that you can choose to use it when you want to. I started off by saying, that we just sometimes need to know that there's an option. And when we don't know that there's an option for something, that's really, really devastating sometimes, because we think we're stuck. And a lot of my clients actually think that cutting ties with their family is the only way, but it's not true. We just need to know what all our options are, and then we gotta use them, the ones that we like, try different ones, and continue this work to create more of the interactions that you really, really want. And it's so possible. It's possible for you. It's been possible for me. I've never had a better relationship with my parents than I do now. I've never had better relationships with people as I do now, using these skills and tools. And I know it's possible for you too. So I cannot wait to see you inside my free training. We're going to practice some of these secrets, these tips. I can't wait to see how it improves your feelings, how it helps manage, take care of your feelings, and how you just show up as more of who you want to be around those you love. So join me. It's heyalisonlee.com/secret, and the training will be February 26th, so we have some time. February 26th, 2026. And if you're listening to this at a later time, just go to heyalisonlee.com/secret to find out when the next free training will be, and I will see you there. I am so excited, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.